What's up, guys? I made a statement a few days back calling anti-Semitism, as it's understood today, for the most part, a myth. Let me clarify that. Do some people dislike Jewish people nowadays? Absolutely. However, this is not what the term is used to depict today, which is essentially falls under a list of titles created by the left to describe marginalized groups they exploit for gain, alongside terms like Islamophobic, fascist, misogynist, racist, white supremacist. Meaning, what's clever about this form of verbal hijacking is because taken alone, one could, from a macro perspective, conclude that people who are from different races, religions, or even genders are being discriminated. But is that hatred solely because of who they are or who they happen to be with, or because of some other factor? And here's the formula. Look, pain plus blame equals hate. Again, it's pain plus blame equals hate. The problem with writing people off with any of these terms is to say instead that blame in whichever one of these cases either doesn't matter or doesn't exist. Now, the blame could be misguided or misconstrued, but to deny only because you belong to some marginalized group, we have to ignore the reason for the dislike or hatred. Look, that only builds resentment. A resentment that if we don't confront now, our children will have to deal with in the future. Which is why the left, which is synonymous with the secular, doesn't have a term for anti-Christian hatred, the most persecuted group in our world today, or a term for the mistreatment of whites. Mainly because they don't see the world between right and wrong, but between the weak and the strong. So know that a sense of collective responsibility has to be accepted among all these groups, large and small, which should then get them or even us to police our groups to make sure that the majority of that group does not pay the price for what some in the minority of that group may be doing. And again, this doesn't mean that people don't dislike Jews, but rather that by creating adjectives to describe pain and blame, by definition, will only ensure that those being disliked never have to listen to the reason given for that hatred. Reasons that may possibly bring up issues that sometimes could be resolved or attended to. And yes, look, I get it. Trolls do exist, meaning there are people who only exist just to cause chaos and will say the most stupidest, meaningless things online. But these should be viewed as the exception and not the rule.